Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, that's okay because I am too. I wanted to record a little week in my life, I suppose. I really just love watching these types of videos and I've always dreamed of making these kinds of videos. So I think it's even more special because it's just gonna be me hanging out with my little buddy over there. My daughter. I want this week to kind of center around bringing art back into my life. I don't think I've talked about it before, but I used to consider myself an artist. I don't anymore, or I haven't for a long time, and that is a problem. So this week we're gonna focus on bringing that aspect back into my life. If you want to do the same, I highly recommend you to do the same because I feel like I've lost a little piece of myself for a long time now. So we are borderline forcing ourselves to create. I say forcing because it's really hard for me as a mom to justify spending that time on myself and that time exercising that creative part of my brain. So that is the goal for this week, amongst other things as well. They have a little Scottish, They have a little Scottish, not like a parade, but like a little festival, I guess, going on downtown. I went a little bit yesterday, but I pretty much missed the whole thing. I just had barely enough time to grab some food and just chill as the sun set. But I think today we're gonna go a little bit earlier and check everything out. It looks so fun. I'm not really Scottish. I think I had my coffee for today, but I've been running around doing a bunch of stuff and it kind of melted. So I think we're gonna go ahead and give this a little bit of a refresh because I've been taking a break from my iced coffees, trying to start to learn how to regulate myself because I don't want to be reliant on it, you know? And I have been for a long time. I want to show you guys the art supplies that I got too. It's really simple. I actually do have quite a few art supplies, but they're in storage and I don't have the keys for right now to get into that storage unit. So I just went ahead and bought some cute little cheap things from an arts and crafts store. So let me show you what I got. My hair's a little crazy. I used to do my hair like this all the time because I have I used to have really straight hair. Now as I'm growing, it's got a little bit of a wave to it, but sometimes I like to just give those little beach waves, I guess. But, you know, being a mom, your hair is constantly getting chewed on, tugged on, all things of that sort. So, but yeah, this is my little haul. First, I got some paint brushes, just some cheap ones. These were literally $3. I love the color of the brushes. I am not that far into art. I want to be to where I can invest in those good brushes, but for now, here's what I got. I was going back and forth between like a sketchbook with a binder, and like the different kinds of paper, but I really enjoy watercolor paper because it's so thick and it gives me the freedom to mess around with different mediums on it. So I just got a simple little pad right here. This was $7.99, so $8. And it doesn't have too many pages, but I figured I really want to get into the habit of finishing my sketchbooks or my art books or whatever. And this seemed a lot less intimidating to me. So we'll see how fast I can finish it. Then I got two little canvases because I really want to try my hand at completing paintings. I used to paint all the time and I want to fill my home with art that I've made, and I just think that's so special. Since being married to my husband, I haven't really painted anything and I want to show him that I can do that. And then I got some gouache paints. These are just really cheap ones as well because I've never used these before. These were $5.99 and yummy. So I just got some simple little paints to try. I wasn't sure if you could use these on canvases, but I looked it up and they said you can. So we'll see how it works. But I'm so excited to try all these things, and I'll show you guys what I end up painting with it later on. I don't know if I'm gonna paint just yet. I kind of want to get my house all in line so I can just relax, and whenever my little munchkin goes down for a nap, I can just zen out and start on a piece. I am gonna make a little bite to eat. Here we go. I'm gonna fill up my water too. I have my old sketchbook here, so I think I'll show you guys some of my past drawings that I've worked on. So this is my old sketchbook. I've got a little Totoro sticker, some cute ones. This is a cafe in Phoenix, Arizona called Luana's. I love that cafe. Well, it's a cafe slash bar. It's actually really cool. And then, so I've got like a little landscape right here that I watercolored actually. Just a really cute, simple, fast little sketch of a home. And then I just do random little things like that. I've got a man right here smoking a cigarette. Got this drawing. She's holding a gun and it's supposed to be going onto this page, but I never finished it, and I really like doing this art style with my pencils. Sorry, fine tip, like the outlining markers. Just got some other little sketches. I really was inspired by, I think these were tattoos that I've seen on Pinterest or something like that, and they're hearts, but it just like melts, the person just melts into the heart. I just thought it was so beautiful, and flowers are my jam. I've got a little random bouquet here. I just love the colors. And then I was working on making a sticker collection actually, and I was just so inspired by my husband's culture. He's Mexican, and his grandma is just the cutest little lady you've ever seen, and I was just inspired by her, so I was making little stickers of her. It's a little sheep, donkey potentially. Never went through with this, but I just thought it was so cute. And then I've got this little cowboy, never finished him. And then this little doodle. It's just really random, but I think it's really cute. And then here is more of the sticker collection, and these little doodles I love. It's supposed to be grandma's kitchen and give like a really cozy vibe. So I've got the kitchen right here with all the decor, little vase, chilies, little kettle. That is a concha. And then this is supposed to be a soup, I think specifically pozole. Watching TV with grandma, little flower. I just think it's so cute. And then I've got a cowgirl drawing that's a little more sensual, I guess. But this is just done in pencil. I think it's cool. And I think that's about it. I ripped a lot of pages out of this one, and I just never finished any of it, so yeah, it's pretty thin. I think this sketchbook's supposed to be a lot thicker. So let's see if I can finish this new one. I genuinely think, this is so random, but I genuinely think becoming a mother was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life so far. I know a lot of people think that way. A lot of women feel that way, and rightfully so, because in my opinion, it is probably the most beautiful thing ever, becoming a mom. And it's so difficult, but it's so rewarding. And I feel like it's just changed me in so many ways so rapidly. You're literally thrown into like an ice cold river, if that makes sense. Like, you feel like you can't catch your breath. You have so many emotions and feelings going all in at once, but as soon as you get out, it's the most, and I don't know what get out means, but as soon as you like come up for air,
and realized how refreshing that was and how exhilarating everything is. I don't know if that's a weird analogy, but that's kind of how I think of at least giving birth in like the first couple of months postpartum. In my experience, I know that a lot of women have a very, very difficult time, and my heart goes out to every single woman out there that has gone through a very difficult postpartum. The first week I made a couple TikTok videos explaining how like inferiority kind of sunk into my brain. I just didn't think that I was a strong enough woman to be a mother. I didn't think that I was capable of it. A lot of it has to do with my age too. I decided to become a mom very young, and I have absolutely no regrets for that. I know it's very controversial, but I have absolutely no regrets. There's no other way that I'd want to live my life. I also feel very blessed to have a husband that provides for both of us and allows me to be at home with her. There's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm finally awake in a sort of sense. I've been asleep for so long. I feel like I get to relive my childhood all over again. And I don't know a better feeling than that. It's the closest thing that I get to reliving my childhood all over again. You become excited for birthdays, you become excited for Christmas, outings, everything, just because you can see the joy that it puts on your little one's face. And I don't know, to me at least, it's like I get to experience all the goodness of life all over again. As if I experienced it already. I'm only 22, but you guys know what I mean. This lunch has just turned into a really random yap session, and I hope you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
We're gonna put this little munchkin down for a nap. You wanna take a nap with mama? Oof, I look so rough. I took a little nap with my daughter after I took a quick bath. I wasn't feeling the best all of a sudden. I feel a lot better now, but my contacts were still in my eyes whenever I fell asleep. Anyways, I'm gonna take a quick shower and do a little refresh on everything, and then see what we'll do next. Good morning, guys. It is the next day. I didn't do as much as I wanted to yesterday, but again, that's okay. It happens, especially whenever you're a mom. It's totally okay. Totally okay. I'm at the stage in postpartum where I'm losing a lot of hair. Alrighty, I am back at my kitchen table, and I was just thinking, I think that I've been procrastinating drawing because I feel very uninspired, but I want to push through and I want to force myself to create, because I feel like if I don't, then I'll just never start. And I feel like sometimes it's okay to do that, you know? There's never a right or wrong way to do anything. There's never a need to push yourself. But I feel like for me, it's something that I want to do. I used to have a lot of confidence with art, and now I just find myself completely lacking any sort of confidence when it comes to doing anything artistically, and that makes me really sad. And that's something that I really want to fix, because I feel like it is a big part of my identity, and it's a big part, or it's a big reason as to why I don't feel like myself lately. So I'm gonna force myself to create, and we'll see what comes out of it. Hi guys, it's been a little bit. I think the last I recorded was earlier this morning. I gave my bangs a little trim. I think it looks a lot better. And it's raining and it's so nice outside. Let me show you. A little bit windy and a little chilly, but whenever you turn off the AC and just kind of open up the doors and the windows, it feels so good outside. I just really wish my husband was here to enjoy it with me because it's like the perfect movie weather. This is what I've got so far. It's gonna be little passion fruits. I've got a rose right there, a cigarette. I want to try like painting the glass cubes. Man, I don't really know what to call it, but you'll see whenever I finish it. And it's just on a little table, some smoke. You can see where my baby added her little touch of her handprints. But I like how it's turning out so far, and I really like using the gouache paints. I've never tried them until today, so I'll show you guys whenever I make more progress or finish it. I'm not sure. I just absolutely love the rain. I feel like every time it rains, it like resets everything. Everything. Me, the earth, everything. We're going on a little walk before it gets too wet outside. It's just been sprinkling a little bit, but look at this. She's like my little old lady with her little hat, and I got her all bundled up. I was super hungry, so I got a little snack. I got some cereal. I also love eating cereal out of a mug. I don't know if that's just me. And this one is so cute. I did get this at Walmart. It's so random to me. I think that's why I like it. It says, "That's showbiz, baby," with a frog and some boots. I don't know. I thought that it would be fun to just do like a little time lapse of me painting. So I'm going to set that up. I only have a little bit done so far. So, and I have not painted in years. I have kind of no idea what I'm doing. Well, I have some sort of idea, but we'll just see what comes out of it. I don't know. Could be kind of cool. I feel so good. I feel like the rain just totally relaxed me, and my little girl is down for a nap, and I feel like it really relaxed her as well. So now we just wait for the hubby to get off of work, and yeah. I took my hair out. The sun's popping out and it feels so good. I don't know what we're gonna do for the rest of the day, but today is my husband's day off, so we usually take the opportunity and do something all together. Either go somewhere or have dinner or something like that. So we'll see what happens. Good morning, y'all. I have no idea where this vlog is going or how it's gonna be, but I'm kind of just recording at random times, like whenever I can. So I'm gonna make my coffee and get some stuff done today. I have been trying to thin my eyebrows out just a little bit, not having them as thick as usual, because usually they're just like rectangles on my face, which I like. Do not mind my mirror. I have some mango butter I use as a moisturizer. Well, I am gonna use it. I don't use it all the time.
Okay. And then I have some sunscreen. This one can leave a pretty severe white cast. It's the Cetaphil. Okay, mamas. Let's go. Okay. I put her down for a little nap. I put on the mango butter and then some sunscreen. And I find that if you ever use this sunscreen, I really love to mix it with some kind of moisturizer, like a thin moisturizer. Because it's really hard to spread on your skin. I also feel like I just look better with less makeup anyways. I try so hard to have the like full routine where I'm putting on eyeshadow, this, and this, and I feel like it just doesn't work for my face. I think it just drowns me out, even though I love makeup like that. I wish I had an eyebrow brush, but I don't. But I do have this like brown mascara. I kind of try to get the excess off of it and just use that for my eyebrows. Pretty sure I got this at the dollar store. Yoni? There we go. All right, now we're in the bathroom. We'll try to figure out what to do with this hair. My hair has always been a struggle for me, like finding out what to do with it, because a part of me is like, let the bangs go. And I like my forehead, and then some days I'm just like, I kind of want to cover it up because I don't have the smallest forehead. But and then there's some days where I really like the bangs, so I'm like so torn. I don't know. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna go ahead and open up all of the doors and windows, let some fresh air in here, tidy up what I can, eat some breakfast, and then make my first post after like a week and a half or something like that for our body care brand. Hi guys, this is still a part of the vlog, but I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about, again, something that's been on my mind because I love to chit chat. I really do. And I specifically wanted to talk about this because of how my life looks. And I love my life. I absolutely adore my life. Do I have goals and aspirations? Yes. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna dislike where I'm at right now. My life is pretty mundane and it's the same old stuff, and it happens whenever you become a mom, but I also lived very similar to this before I was a mom. And I really don't think that is something that is a bad thing. It is very different than what you see a lot of people do online. Even when it comes to going out to coffee shops, going and buying a cute little thing from a store that is like an everyday occurrence for some people, like they do those little outings often, those are still considered luxuries. And that's something that I wanted to kind of point out. Because those are some things that I don't partake in very often. Every once in a while, yes, but they are still considered luxuries, and you can still really enjoy your life without having those. You can make your little coffees at home and live a very minimal life and still be extremely fulfilled and happy. And I would even argue to say even more fulfilled and happy than if you were to have a room full of little knickknacks
or constantly buying a little sweet treat every day from a bakery rather than making it yourself and spending the time. Yeah, it might not be as perfect, but it's still extremely enjoyable, the whole process. And although it might not look like my life is progressing, I know it is progressing personally. And progression just happens differently for so many different kinds of people. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. If you hear some commotion, I've got my little bestie over there in the corner fumbling around with my water bottle and her toys. So if you can hear that, that is my little bestie over there, aka my daughter. I'm feeling very good. There were some things that sort of happened this morning that could have knocked me off track, but we prevail, we continue forward, we don't let small things bother us that aren't necessary. You know? As somebody who has hyperfixated on this her entire life, I feel like I'm finally barely digging underneath the... You could see her over there. I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface of my self-growth journey, my true self-growth journey, not just the artificial, superficial type of things that I thought were helping me grow but weren't actually, and it wasn't actually real growth. It was just me spinning my mind completely different ways, and it wasn't actually being as productive as I thought it was going, as I thought it would be. One thing that I had to come to terms with is that it is an extremely difficult road. Extremely difficult. I didn't think that in order to... One sec. The first thing that I wanted to touch on is the fact that I feel like once you finally start to reach some sort of progression, you will feel like you're being humbled day in and day out. There is no break. I've seen those TikTok videos of people talking about how when you enter your 20s, it's like you're starting over again. You're 1, 2, 3 years old, learning how to navigate the world. It feels like that. And that's one thing that I never expected whenever I was a teenager. And I would look so forward to my independence and growing up and everything. Truly, it is the most humbling experience reaching 21, but I want to say specifically 22 years old and further. I can only speak for 22 years old because I am 22. But I can only imagine it continues from here and then it slowly starts to get better. Let's hope, right? And I didn't realize how much I was going to want to try and fight what life was trying to teach me or what God was trying to teach me. There are so many things that you just have to have a completely open mind and open heart to. And I didn't realize how much I would be affected by those things. And I turned it into a negative when in reality, they weren't as negative and as bad as I thought they were. In the moment, yeah, you feel like you're going through it. Oh my gosh, it feels like you're going through it. But then in retrospect, you sit back and realize like, oh man, I needed to go through that, first of all. And it's not as bad as I thought it was. So that's a huge plus. I feel like that's something that gives me a lot of hope for my future as well, because, well, man, if I'm going through this right now, like, it's got to get better than this, right? It's got to get better from here. And I feel like that gives me hope. So I found that the best thing to do is just listen. I have never valued being a student more in my life than when I've been out of school. I took the route of not going to college. I took the route of not pursuing a higher education. And I stand by my decision. I completely and utterly respect people that do go to school. I wish I was one of them to a certain aspect. But I never did good in school. I'm terrible at studying. I'm terrible at time management, procrastination. And I know those are things that all, like, you gain those skills and you have to work on those skills. And I totally know that. But it just wasn't the path that I had chosen. And the best thing that I learned is that, honestly, I turned my brain off a lot more than I used to. And it's not to just mindlessly go about life. It's more like I look at it in more of a way where you are turning your brain off, meaning you are just fully allowing things to pass through you in a sort of sense. Like, you don't have to associate with the moment in your life that you are in. Like, you don't have to cling to it so hard. You can just simply say, I'm going through this moment in my life right now. I know it's gonna end at some point. It sucks right now, or it's amazing right now. But not becoming too attached to that moment. I feel like that's something that I had a really hard time with. Is looking at things in a bird's eye perspective. Like, you're the player of your video game. Like, you are the one playing the video game. You're not the character in the video game that you're playing as. I also feel like it's totally okay to not justify the person or the scenario that's upsetting you. I feel like it could just be affecting you in this sort of way, and that's just simply that. You don't have to look at it any deeper than, you don't have to completely dissect it. And I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because, of course, you want to understand everything that's going on in your life in order to guide it a certain way, but honestly, this has a lot to do with faith, and this has a lot to do with trusting the process. And previously, I would have considered myself more type A, but I have completely surrendered, and I would say I am probably the most type B person you've ever met in your entire life. And that was my choosing. It's something that I had to work really hard at because I would just try to control everything in my life. I was so not a really go with the flow type of person until I realized there's absolutely no use in being that way. It creates so much unnecessary anxiety and just problems in your life, and I feel like that is one of the best skills that I have attained so far. Again, everything has to have balance to it as well. You can't just completely surrender everything. You can't just be like, well, I'm not going to do this even though I know I have to. It's like, you got to be responsible for things, but you have to have balance. You cannot be too far on either side. And that takes a lot of time. I haven't even mastered it. I'm only 22, and I totally get that. But this is something that I wish somebody had told me earlier, that everything is going to be okay. You just need to take a breather. Things feel like they suck really bad right now, but it's not what you have to identify as. You don't have to identify as the moment that you're in. I also wrote here, if you can simply just take in the information and process it without any sort of bias, it will help you. And I agree with that. I feel like that goes along with being a student. You want to learn as much as possible. Take in everything. Don't knock something. And by that I mean don't like push something away just because you aren't interested in it or you feel like it will bring you off of your path you're supposed to walk on. I am a firm believer that if it appears in your way, you have to use discernment first of all, but don't knock everything. It's good to venture out and see different things and introduce different things into your life. Ooh, this is a really good one. Next, I have my little notebook from, I think I got this from like the dollar store or something, but it's so cute. It has little like felt roses. So next I wrote, if you're a person that loves to give everyone else the benefit of the doubt but yourself, you're never going to hear what you want from anyone. All of those compliments and words of affirmations people give you will never ever fill what you need to give to yourself. And oh my goodness, is that true? Oh my goodness, like, I would say that is the hardest thing that I have had to go through. I was an extreme people pleaser. Extreme, like so extreme. Learning how to give yourself pats on the back, saying you did a good job or you deserve this rest, has helped me tremendously in my life. I no longer live in anybody else's idea that they think that I should be. I no longer live like that, and I lived like that pretty much my whole life. And that led to me not knowing who I was from a young age. I never really wanted to venture out too much, specifically in public settings. At school, it's a different story. Sorry. yes, at school it's a different story compared to at home. I was myself at home, but when it came to public settings and at school, I was a completely different person. And it makes me really sad to look back on that. And it's something that I had to learn now. And I was jealous of the people that were just completely and utterly themselves. That's why I hung out with like the nerdy kids or even the popular kids. Those kids know that they want to be that way and that they feel more comfortable that way. I don't know. I didn't know who I was, and I am barely finding that out right now. That again, like I say this stuff like yeah, you're not really supposed to know who you are when you're 22, but I feel like you have a good sense of the kind of person that you are from a young age and the things that you like to do, things you don't like to do. If I would have not been as anxious and as shy and as much of a people pleaser as I was, and I'm sure that goes I'm sure that's because of trauma and some things that had happened in my childhood, but I digress. I looked for compliments from people, but I realized like as soon as I got into my relationship, this is a perfect example. As soon as I got into my relationship, sorry, I had to go check on her really quick. As soon as I got into my relationship, I was head over heels in love with being loved. Like I felt so untouchable by this man that is actually my husband. He was my first relationship and I'm married to him, so that's pretty cool. But we went through some hard times as any relationship does. And I remember one thing that he told me that I will never forget, and it was simply the fact that it really, really makes somebody unattractive when they are not living for themselves. And that was something that blew my mind. Like, he literally told me, he's like, you need to do things that you want. Don't even think about me. Don't even think about me. Don't try to coddle me. Don't try to do everything for me because it loses that spark. And that was the first time I've ever heard that, but it's so true. Like, if you expect yourself to go and people please your way into things, it will never work. I tried it. I've tried it so many times, and it just simply will never, ever, ever work. Do not be a people pleaser. If you are, you need to learn how to break that habit immediately because you will not progress in life. You will be so stagnant, and you'll just watch life pass you by. But yeah, those are just some little things that I had on my mind and I wanted to talk about because I think that they're important and they're things that I'm proud to have learned already, and all of those things I'm still at the beginning of, and I totally recognize that too. I don't know. I hope that it can help some people and some people can resonate with the things that I say, and it will help the people that think that the world is ending, because I definitely felt like that for a long time. And it's just not the truth. So, I think I'm going to end the vlog here actually as well. I do want to show you guys my painting whenever I finish it though, so I will probably post maybe on my Instagram or something like that whenever I finish it, because I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that, but I'm taking my time with it. I think that instead of rushing it, I will enjoy it a lot more if I just work on it whenever I want to, which it's still a process for me to enjoy allowing myself to just sit and create. And that is a goal of mine though, because I know ultimately it's what I want. Is my brain letting me do it? Not really, but I also am starting 75 hard. I think it's technically like 75 soft. We'll see. It's just pretty loose. Like, I know you can't really do a loose version of it, but as a mom, I feel like you get that sort of pass. So I am starting that today. It is day 1, and I'm making like a little calendar on my wall for everything. I really just want to distract myself from social media. I think that is a really good way to do it. and see progression in myself too, because I feel like I finally have energy to work out as often as that at the 45 minutes twice a day. I already take my everyday walks for the most part. I really, really want to read, and as a breastfeeding mom, water intake is super important. So I kind of do all those things already, so we'll see how it goes. The biggest thing for me is sticking to a diet. And already, again, as a breastfeeding mom, you kind of have to eat, I think it was like 400 to 500 more calories a day. Totally correct me if I'm wrong. That's just straight up off my dome, and I can't remember if that's the truth or not. We'll see how it goes. I would totally love to film a progress video as well, so we'll see how that is. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it this far in the video, I love you, and thank you so much for coming along with me in this journey of self-discovery, creativity, and everything in between. So, thank you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.